All right, everybody. We are live for the first time.
Oh
Uh,
no, my camera's so bad. It's like
nah,
okay,
your camera's okay, Max. Don't even trip, bro. You're okay.
I don't
Everybody's
like that.
okay. It's all right, man. It's just the first episode. A little technical difficulties with Max's side. He had a little trouble getting his Twitch up. But this is our first episode of our podcast. My name is Omar Othman. Uh, and you guys can introduce yourselves. My name is Omar.
My name is my fault. My name is Earl. People E3. That's my nickname out here in the cyber world out there. So yeah, it's Earl, biggest Lakers fan on the app. Excited to get this podcast started.
Yeah, I'm Max, otherwise known as Ground Cub, out on the ether webs. Been at this basketball thing for a long time. Never been a good player, but always been a big fan. So excited to get this going. We got two Knicks fans here. Me and Omar are both Knicks fans, as you can see with Earl. He is a diehard Lakers fan. So what can go wrong when you have a podcast with two Knicks fans and a Lakers fan? I really don't know.
Everything. Everything. But we figured we'd start with some background. I started my love for basketball at a young age, you know. I was always one of the shortest people you can ever meet. Uh, Stopped growing at about 5'2", so that's not great for me. That's gonna be out on the internet, even though my dating profile says 5'7". Whatever.
Omar,
I'm
Wait, is
5'2".
5'2" confirmed?
5'2" is confirmed. 5'2" and 3/4 is confirmed.
you do not look 5'2". Nah,
I am. I promise I am.
I don't believe.
I promise.
Earl, you know, right?
Huh?
You gotta be tall and 5'2". You look way too. I thought you were like when you said like I stopped growing. I thought I was gonna be like, oh, but then I hit a growth spurt. Now I'm 6 foot.
No, I never got another growth spurt. So I only had one growth spurt, and
Wow.
it was in like I don't know. I don't even know. Something with kidney transplants and something along the lines of that, stunting my growth at a young age. Got over it. Not a big deal. But I started my love for basketball, believe it or not, coincidentally after I got out of my kidney transplant. So I got home for the first time, and then it was late at night, and I looked up at my basketball hoop, and I was like, I wanna shoot a basketball. I want to shoot a basketball for a little while. Like my dad stayed in the garage, and I was just shooting the basketball just like for an hour or so before I went inside because, fresh off the surgery, it kind of hurt. So whatever, there's still stitches in me. But that's kind of where my love began. Um, I started loving the New York Knicks when in 2012. Carmelo Anthony, Amare Stoudemire, J.R. Smith, Iman Shumpert. Those people were my dreams. I had a little mini basketball hoop on my closet door, and I would recreate J.R. Smith's dunks, Iman Shumpert's lob passes, and anything you could really imagine from a like diehard Knicks fan at a young age. I was just that. I'm sorry.
Prigioni inbound steals.
Prigioni impound steals all the way. Like, it's not about Jose Alvarado anymore. Jose Alvarado learned from the real master, Pablo Prigioni. He really
did.
did. He did.
Jose Alvarado later in the show. I'm sorry. You continue your story, but I want to talk about Jose Alvarado later.
I love Jose Alvarado. He's amazing. But yeah, but my love started around there. Obviously, the Knicks have not been in relevance in a very long time. Well, up until very recently with Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett, and all those young amazing players. But that's where my story began, really, when I was in around 2012, 2013.
All right, Earl, you go ahead. It's not fair to have two Knicks fans go back to back.
Yeah, it's not. It's like double trouble.
Yeah.
Y'all can hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, you good.
Oh man, where do I start? Growing up, I always loved basketball. I don't know what it was, man. Just picking up that ball, going outside, getting buckets on the driveway, with my dad and with my sister. It just always felt right, man. I just never really hit that height cap. I won't lie, I'm not 5'2" like Omar, respectfully, but I am around like 5'11" ish, kind of almost at that 6 foot threshold. Might as
See,
well
you could
round
have
it
been a
up.
basketball player.
Maybe, but I wasn't that height when I was in high school, though. So,
Mm.
yeah, but just growing up, I always love basketball, man. I don't know, man. It's just something I've always wanted to be a part of, whether that's in media. That's kind of how we kind of met on the internship type of thing. I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit as well.
Mhm.
But I just want to be around the game. I knew, kind of like Max said, I couldn't play the game, so I wanted to be around the game, whether that's watching the game. I collect sports cards too. That's one of my bigger hobbies. Um, I don't know. I just love the game, man, ever since I was a kid. But kind of a plot twist. My basketball journey, as far as NBA, started off on a different team. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I
Bandwagon.
wasn't.
I was
Bandwagon.
gonna say that. Yes.
People can say what they want. This is my thing. I never, as a kid, I didn't get the chance to be in a place and like cheer for a team. Like I'm a military kid, so every 3-4 years we moved around. So it wasn't like I could sit there and like fully connect with a team, be in the city, go to games, stuff like that. Which I'm not complaining. I had a really good time growing up, just meeting new people, going different places. But I never really got to connect with a team as far as just like loving that team forever. So I will admit I did have a different team when I was a kid. But I grew up and understood that I could be a part of a better franchise, a better fan base with better owners and stuff like that. So I guess I should just rip the band-aid off and say who I used to follow in the past.
You're keeping us in anxiety. Tell us already.
He says
I
Knicks,
think
I
I should
swear.
show you.
He's gonna show us. Oh man, he's gonna show us.
I'm feeling, I don't know. Like
Oh.
I don't know why. I'm guessing Grizzlies.
The Grizzlies. That's a good choice. Pau Gasol, Mike
Y'all ready?
Conley.
Like, no,
I'm gonna say Atlanta though.
Nah, I think it was the
Atlanta?
West team.
I'm gonna say Atlanta.
Say Memphis.
Y'all ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Pearl
The
bandwagon.
Brotherhood.
Yes! Yes!
What?
Yes!
I knew it.
Yes!
Peter,
He was a Knicks fan this whole time!
Listen,
he left us.
now listen. Now listen. The Knicks have done so many horrible things as far as roster construction, front office construction, just bad decision after bad decision.
I know,
And
Max. Just
growing
let him
up
talk.
as
I know, Max.
Oh,
growing up,
we're Knicks
just
fans.
growing up. I know I'm not a Knicks fan. I know that. I'm just saying, like growing up, it was just tough, man. I was really more. I love Carmelo Anthony, man. That was my favorite player. Just watching him play, man, he just brought such a joy to basketball. Like his scoring ability, I tell people all the time, he is the best pure scorer I've had the chance to watch, like in my generation growing up with basketball, besides LeBron James, obviously. But like dude can do everything. He'll hit you with a post fade, he'll take you to the paint. Everybody knows Denver Nuggets, Melo. He was dunking on people. Knicks Melo caught a little bit of bodies here and there, but not really as much. He just has so many legendary moments. And I know you guys being Knicks fans, like growing up, just watching Carmelo Anthony in a Knicks jersey, man, watching him take over games. I know it wasn't like we were um competing for championships or anything like that, but every time you turn on like a Holmes Knicks game, even if you're watching it on TV, it just felt special, man. And like just after all the things that went down with Melo, in the front office and the decisions they made, and us not really making the best choices as far as roster construction, I think for me, it was the whole letting go of the J.R. Smith and Mon Shumpert thing that really just go over the edge, man. I felt like that team was really great. I mean, we had Amari Stoudemire as well. Like that team was really good, and I felt like similar to. I'm not gonna be too long, but I'll just wrap this up. But like similar to like remember when the Hawks they actually had a legit team. Like it was an alright team with Kyle Korver, Paul Millsap, all those guys. They lost 1 year and they just blew it up. It kind of reminded me of that with the Knicks. And yeah, just after that, seeing what happened with Melo, I just moved on, man. I got older. I realized that in life you have choices, your free will. You can do what you want, and I decided to move on to, something better in my opinion. So shout out to the Knicks fans out there staying strong. Unfortunately, I could not be a part of that brotherhood and I had to move on to a different fan base. So this is just me putting it out there. It is in the air. I was once a Knicks respecter. Now I'm a Lakers lover.
I gotta
That's my
respect.
backstory.
I gotta respect his take on that because we fumbled the bag. We fumbled the bag heavy. Max, you
Yeah.
gotta, yeah. We fumbled the bag
Like,
heavy.
follow that up. That's earth-shattering news right there.
That is
I can't believe
earth-shattering news.
How did you keep this secret?
That's like a crazy reveal in like an anime arc, isn't it? My villain backstory. This
Yes.
is who I used to be. Now I'm here. And my friends still accept me. Like it's dramatics here and there. But yeah. Yeah, but that's the big secret, man. Not really a secret. I know Dan always joked about it, but I always blew it under the rug. That's my good childhood friend there. But yeah, I finally said on the air, it's live, it's in the air, so everybody knows. But I don't care. People have been calling me bandwagon. Doesn't matter, man. I'm still gonna rock this purple and gold Lakers gear for the rest of my life.
So when did you switch? You switched in like 17, 16?
Yeah, I switched around 16. Kind of seeing the end of Kobe's career, kind of jumped on there, and then I was a big Lonzo Ball fan, so it just happened to work out when he got drafted a couple years later. And then things just work out. LeBron James just happened to be there. I wasn't even like the biggest LeBron fan. Like I wasn't like a huge LeBron Cleveland fan. I did respect what he did for his city, going in there and winning championships, but the whole LeBron comes to the Lakers, AD comes to the Lakers, that just happened by surprise, man. So it was just crazy. Crazy coincidence. But yeah.
Well, because then that's not bandwagon because when the Lakers were terrible and like right after Kobe, even when Kobe was there, the Lakers were terrible. They weren't good again for another like 3 years. So I can't really call that.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I mean, I can't call that a bandwagon. He's
like if you jump to gold, Cleveland, that's one thing. But like I can at least not call you bandwagon. Like I'm never gonna forgive you for giving up on the Knicks. That will never happen. But it's not a bandwagon. To call it bandwagon would be calling it the wrong term. That's calling it something it's not. Lakers didn't get good until 2 or 3 years later. They were terrible those years.
Yeah. And I will just say this too. I had to make a sacrifice for Knicks Nation out there, man. I had to give up on you guys so you guys can get better. So take this as a small sacrifice.
Absolutely. So I guess I'll get into my my little story. Unlike you guys, I never really like played much basketball when I was like super young. Like when I was like for a lot of elementary school, like kindergarten. Like I was never really I was never really part of basketball culture. I wasn't watching. I wasn't playing. But then when I was like 8 or 9 years old, because my family lived near New York at the time, and I walked in and the Knicks game was on, and my family hadn't watched basketball in years, like decade plus of just not watching basketball. But they had the game on because of this big kid that they were reading about in the papers named Jeremy Lin, who was killing the game at the time. So they had to turn the game on because we got MSG. It was Knicks in Toronto. One fateful day, so I just happened to walk in the room of my own volition, and I just sat by the TV and started watching that game. And to this day, I remember watching Jeremy Lin walk up and hit that game-winning shot with 0.5 seconds on the clock. I forget who he hit it over, but it was some Raptors point guard. If y'all are Knicks fans, even if you're not Knicks fans, you know that shot. That was the peak of insanity. That game was crazy. I think the Knicks came back from like down 12 in the fourth quarter to win that game 90-87. So that was the first game of basketball I ever watched. That was the first exposure I ever had to the game. And from there, I just kind of took to it. Like I just kept coming back, being like, well, I want to watch the next game. I want to watch the next Knicks game. When are the Knicks playing again? So from there, it kind of grew. And for that reason, I'll always have a soft spot for Jeremy Lin because he was the first. Without him, none of this happens. I'm not a Knicks fan. I'm not a basketball fan even probably without Jeremy Lin. So that one shot literally changed my life, like whether I knew it or not. So. Obviously, I was heartbroken that offseason when Lin left the team to go to Houston. That really hurt. I was devastated. I was like 9. I didn't know any better at the time. Like, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, from then on, I kind of developed that love for the Knicks and especially Carmelo Anthony. He's my favorite all-time player. Will always be my favorite all-time player. I think for a long time there, I was more of a Melo fan than a Knicks fan because I was super young. So I just loved watching Melo play. Just drop buckets on people. Dominate the post. Just put up points, man. Like when you're young, that's all you care about. You don't see the nuance of the game. You just see Melo dropping 30, and the Knicks were winning games that year. That 2012-13 year was awesome. Our average age was like 41 that year because we had about 18 veterans that were about to retire, but we still had an awesome year. Made the second round of the playoffs, and then did not make the playoffs again for like another decade. Not decade, 8 years. Sorry. Pretty much like my entire middle school and most of my high school, I never saw the Knicks in the playoffs again. So those were rough. Those were rough years. That really tested my fandom. At least we had Melo for a long time, so I got to watch Melo play a lot of Knicks games, which was awesome. Got to see him play in person as well. But when he left the Knicks and we were really bad those like 1 or 2 years where we just had Porzingis and then we didn't have Porzingis because we traded Porzingis, we were terrible for like 2017, 2018. So that really tested my patience. I'm not going to act like I was watching every game. I was not watching like every Alonzo Trier, Emmanuel Mudiay, Trey Burke game. I didn't. I won't lie. I was in school. I had other things going on. So like I kind of lagged off the Knicks trend there, but I'd say around the pandemic year, like 2019, 2020, I got really back into it. I think this time I kind of appreciated the team a little bit more, and I appreciated the success that they were having, and I appreciated the game more. You know, now that I'm a little older, I kind of get the game on a deeper level. I'm able to understand and respect it a little bit more, even as just, you know, as a Knicks fan, just appreciating basketball more. I think that's something that I've gotten a lot better at over the course of my fandom. So nowadays, now that the Knicks are good and we've got good players, you know, it makes it a lot easier. But for the last couple of years, I've been catching pretty much – oh, sorry, I'll turn that light back on. But pretty much every and all Knicks game I've been catching for the last 2-3 years. Now that we're in the Brunson era, things are looking bright. But yeah, it's been an awesome ride. I wouldn't change a darn thing, and I'm going to be Knicks for life. I'm not pulling an Earl, regardless of if we don't win a championship again. I'm sticking with the Knicks for the rest of eternity. This jersey's never coming off.
As it should not, my friend. The Knicks have a whole soft spot in my heart. I'm from Jersey. I was originally. Max, don't sue me.
A Nets fan.
No, I was a Nets fan at one point, and Earl left the call. I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm sure he'll be right back.
Hey, let me take this chance. I can try and turn myself up here because I'm on the app. Let me see if I can't turn my.
Right, I understand. But again, originally, like, I'm from Jersey, and I was a Nets fan kind of growing up. I mean, my dad, his whole life has kind of been like a Knicks fan, so I kind of developed that. But at the same time, I was a Nets fan, and like, I think I saw this game where they were versing San Antonio, and I was like a real fake fan back then. Like, obviously, I didn't know what was going on, so I was just like, friggin', oh, let me just be a San Antonio Spurs fan because like they win a lot, and it was like the era of Tim Duncan and Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili, Kawhi Leonard. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And I was like, these teams were like surprisingly good to me. I had no idea who these teams were. So, but let's dive into our first topic, I guess. I have a little thing I want to bring up, but I'm not sure how we feel about it. All right. I'm gonna ask you this, Max, as a Knicks fan, because um, it. I feel like I should here. If we were to create another duo in New York, we were to trade away most of our current core, being R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle. If we were to trade those two, and I know what you're gonna say, because my plan is really to just sign the next player. But do we trade? Do we not trade? Do we trade away? Do we trade away Julius Randle and some of our depth for Joel Embiid, or do we go all in? And hypothetically, let's say it's on the table just for conversation.
Okay.
Or do we dive in and say Julius Randle and RJ Barrett for Giannis?
I would 100% do the Giannis at whatever it takes. I mean, I think you brought up the argument of like signing versus versus like trading for a player. We're kind of in a position, I feel like, more so to trade a player because we have so many draft picks in like the next 3 or 4 years. So like we can't use all of them. We don't have enough roster space to draft like 18 guys in the next 5 years. So we got all the picks. We have a bunch of young players in tradable contracts. Like even the guys like Randall and RJ are not like terrible deals. They're pretty fairly priced based on their output. So the fact that we have them along with other young guys like Quickly, like Grimes, like Mitch Robinson, that are all on tradable, team-friendly contracts, I feel like in my mind that sets us up for a trade. And I think that's what this front office is going for, is that we've been stacking assets and kind of keeping our powder dry for like the longest time, and they're just waiting for the right player to become available. And in my mind, that's honest. I love Embiid. He's awesome. He's the MVP. No one's doubting his skill. But if it comes down to one or the other, I would go with Giannis just because he's proven himself. He's proven NBA Finals winner. He's a proven NBA Finals producer. He's someone that we've seen can lead a team to a championship because he has. He was absolutely phenomenal in that Finals run in 2021. Absolutely deserved the Finals MVP. Deserved all the praise that he gets. And I also think Giannis is just really good. I know it's gonna sound corny, but like he really is a good human being. Like he's got a very good head on his shoulders. He's mature. He knows what he's doing. He makes smart decisions, and that can't be underestimated in terms of a team because these guys are human beings. You know, that's not to say that Joel Embiid doesn't make good decisions. I'm not trying to turn this into like Joel slander, but I'm just really high on Giannis. I think he's a smart person. He's a mature person. He's obviously a fantastic basketball player, and he's been there, done that. So I don't see why he couldn't lead this Knicks team to a championship if given the chance. Could Joel Embiid also probably do the same thing? Yeah, but we just haven't seen that kind of production from him in the playoffs before. If anything, he's become a little notorious for not performing in the playoffs. So if Embiid goes out and has a great year with Philly, leads them to like a conference finals, and we see kind of that playoff performer Joel Embiid that we've kind of missed his whole career, then I would be more okay with making the trade. But as of right now, I think Giannis is the more proven playoff performer, which at the end of the day is what you need to win a championship. You know, regular season can only get you so far, as the Knicks have learned all too well with Julius Randle. So in my mind, if we got to give up Randle, if we got to give up RJ, if we got to give up the picks, it's worth it because Giannis and Brunson, as long as they have a good core around them, can absolutely win a championship.
Right. And so when I brought up signing the other player, I was talking about Donovan Mitchell. I want to make that clear because although I do feel like Giannis is the better player, and I know Giannis is the better player between him and Joel Embiid, you guys can hear me well, right?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay,
I don't,
because
but I'll try and turn this up.
I'm not getting anything on my side for me. It's saying it's not hearing me, but I'm not sure about that. I'll check it later. But I do prefer. Here's the thing. I believe two can get it done better. I know you brought up the point with Donovan Mitchell's defense as well, how it's kind of lackluster, and also Jalen Brunson's defense, who's a little lackluster as well. So you brought up that point before. This wasn't on the podcast, obviously, but I think I think a core of Joel Embiid, Jalen Brunson, and maybe Donovan Mitchell can get things done as well. I think the more players you have, the greater the chance. I know the shooting ability is really good there if you place them in there. Also, we'll be able at that point we'd be able to retain our defense, which would be honestly in some ways I kind of prefer Mitchell Robinson because he's a younger player. He's not a better player. He's not going to put as much up as Joel Embiid. He's not going to give you 30 points a game, but he'll give you 8 blocks. He'll give you 10 blocks. He'll give you 10 offensive rebounds. This man is a defensive machine. So I'd rather have a defensive centric center with all, but at the same time, I don't know. It's gotta work out because I want Giannis, but at the same time, I feel like a duo of like Embiid and Mitchell can like really solidify our chances of like winning a championship.
Wait, so you're saying Embiid, Mitchell, and Brunson?
Embiid, Mitchell, and Brunson.
Whew. I don't know. It seems like you're playing with salary cap mode off over there. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Well, in that scenario, most of our contracts, like I think around $300 million, more than that is cleared up because you're getting rid of RJ Barrett and Julius Randle. So you're clearing up about $300,000 worth of cap space because they both are making over 150, I believe.
Well, right. But then where's the money for everyone else? Like Embiid and that'd be more money than what RJ and Julius are getting. They're both getting like 30 mil a year. Embiid's going to be 45, 50. Mitchell's going to be 45, 50. So that like Earl said, we're kind of playing Phoenix Sun Simulator at that point.
Well, no, to be honest, also, like, we're only near the first tax apron. We're acting like we're not New York. We can afford the second tax apron.
But if you go and get Joel Embiid and Donovan Mitchell, both guys who are probably looking for like lucrative deals as far as extensions, unless you say you're trading for them,
We're only
Are you,
trading for Embiid. We're gonna sign Mitchell.
I don't know, man. I don't know how the contract's gonna work. I gotta look at the books. I just don't. I
Well, with our current roster, oh my bad.
Let me ask you this: what do y'all expect to sign Mitchell at? Like, what price point do you expect to get him at as far as like a free agent signing?
I'm
Too
gonna
high.
yeah.
Whatever.
Because if you think, because I could, unless he just wanted to win a championship, the price cut compared to other teams he could possibly get a deal from is gonna be kind of significant. Going to the Knicks, if you have Joel Embiid on your books, you got Jalen Brunson. I don't know who you're trading to get Joel Embiid, so I don't know who else will be on that, but I don't know. I think ever since that new rule, I don't know the exact details on like the pricing stuff like that. The little new player exception thing where they changed the pricing where you can sign players for X amount in this bracket and stuff like that. I know we talked about it on Full Court Press like probably like 2 months ago. But I don't know how much that accounts for like adding 3 superstars potentially to your roster and then having to pay out contracts for your role players. Kind of like Max said too, like you might find yourself in the Phoenix Sun range where you're scrambling to sign players, just like they did. Start a free agency, just guys are very, very low deals with we don't know how much great production they're gonna produce at that. So it definitely will be interesting. I do agree you guys have a lot of assets to move around and to get players, but as far as like going and getting a Donovan Mitchell and Joel Embiid, I just don't know if that is 100% possible yet.
Hmm. I see your point there. I see your point. I just know as currently constructed, we're right under the first tax apron, which gives us about I want to say another 100 million to the other tax apron. But I mean, look, you do bring up significant concerns with contracts and stuff like that. But also, what I'm considering is you're giving up a lot of money off the books as well that can create more. Like, we forget about Evan Fournier's contract, who's eating about $13 million a year. We're going to
Yeah.
trade that. We're trading that for a second round pick, if anything, to be honest with you. I mean, his value rose a little bit during the playoffs. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. I don't think so, personally. I think his
Fournier?
defense is the same. Yeah. I think his defense is the same. I think his offense is the same. He did not improve. There's a reason why he's sitting. I'm sorry, French fans. That's the way it is. But
Let
Evan,
me ask
go for it.
hold up. Go ahead, go ahead.
No, go for it, please.
Now I was just gonna ask you, do you guys okay, what about okay, I know we're looking at all these new crazy super lucrative contracts. Do you
Yeah.
not think Donovan Mitchell with his gameplay with the Cavs, he won't command one of those really high deals like a Jalen Brown type of contract in the
Oh,
next couple of years?
he will. He'll be 45 to 50 at least. I would shock anything lower. I think Omar brought up the only way he's lower is if
Yeah,
he takes a home count, and even that would
exactly.
be like 30 million, which is like,
I
Yeah.
just
mean, we do see players take pay cuts all the time.
Yeah. Like I feel like what you're saying, Omar, I definitely think it could happen. Like if they all sat down and agreed, talked about numbers, took cuts here and there. I mean, we've seen stars team up together to win championships. Dwayne Wade, Chris
Yeah.
Bosh, LeBron James. They did it. They all took pay cuts and stuff like that. I think if they wanted to form something like that, it will have to be similar. Not all those guys are going to be able to get paid. Whoever brings the most traction is going to be the one to get the most money. In that case, I'm assuming it will be Joel Embiid on his extension will be the more lucrative deal.
Yeah.
But when you talk about these new contracts, every single offseason, these contracts are going to get higher and higher just because the cap is going to slightly increase. So, what we've seen this year as far as world breaking, who knows if Donovan Mitchell may feel like he can command that type of contract with the Cavs. I mean, the Cavs could
Mm.
pay him. It's not like they have like a superstar over there besides, I mean, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley. We're not sure what their full potential is yet, but I mean, he definitely could command like a high contract like that as well. So I guess that's something to look into too.
Yeah, I mean, Donovan Mitchell is a great player. I think he's probably around Jalen Brown's contract. Don't get me wrong. I think though, because let's be honest, he's talked to the Knicks. Like he's talked to them. He's talked to his teammates. Like he was in New York for a week because he assumed he was being traded there. Like they thought the deal was done. They did, and Danny Ainge did. But I'm not gonna get into that. But he's definitely talked to players in the Knicks organization. He definitely like had some sort of connection there. And I think there might be a pay cut where he's probably making around the same money as Jalen Brunson. Probably a bit more though. He's probably going to be making around 150 to 200. Don't get me wrong. But
How
I
many,
go for it.
how many years of a contract is that? Like 4 years?
About
If it's 4 years, I mean, he's making more than 200 mil. I mean, the rookies just signed. Didn't like a lot of the, or not rookies, but like the guys who were up for their rookie extensions, didn't they all sign for like 220s? Like the Lamellos, the De'Aarons.
yeah,
Didn't they all?
dude. Yeah, dude. Look, I mean, let's not pretend like the NBA salary is gonna go up. So the Knicks look insanely smart right now. The Knicks look insanely smart right now because you know what we did? We signed Jalen Brunson to a little over 100 million last year. And everybody said overpaid, this, that. Look at the contracts that are happening right now. 200 plus million. We are in a really good position because we can still afford it. That's all that I'm trying to say. If we bring on somebody like Joel Embiid and Donovan Mitchell, I'm saying we could probably afford it just because of how many team friendly contracts we have. And the salary cap in regards of like all these players getting 200 plus million, that means that everybody's salary cap goes up.
Yeah, this got to be the first time in a decade that anyone can say the Knicks look smart.
Yeah,
Like
right.
legit, like a long time that people are like, wow, that was actually a good move by the Knicks front office.
You know what I think? You know what I think? And
Yeah.
Earl, I think you're gonna appreciate this one. Have you
Alright, go
ever
ahead.
watched the show Showtime Lakers?
Yes, yes, sir.
Are you on the second season?
No, I'm not on second season yet.
Okay. So
But you
during
can.
the what's up? I'm sorry.
No, so you can speak freely about it. It's good.
Yeah. I was gonna say during the second season, I forgot the owner's name. I think it's Jerry Buss. Do not quote
Yep.
me.
No, it's yeah.
Excuse me, sorry. But Jerry Buss went and signed Cooper. I forgot his first name, excuse me. Cooper.
Michael,
Michael Cooper, thank you. He went and signed Michael Cooper to 10 times the amount of his contract. Right? Soon after that, he gave Magic a $25 million contract for 25 years, which was
Yep.
more than anybody was making at the time. So what happens is this looks insanely smart. And I think the
Mhm.
Knicks kind of took a playbook out of the Lakers because they do have some Lakers influence in there. Like let's not forget the Phil Jackson era and there's still people from there. So I'm not saying it was a good era, don't get me wrong, it was terrible for us Knicks fans. We resent ever letting Phil Jackson even touch our organization with a 10-foot pole. But I think oh sorry. I accidentally went to Max's camera. But um I think the Knicks took a playbook out of the Lakers there, and I think there's a lot of Lakers esque management probably in there to kind of influence some ways in which we go.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of the decisions that have been made that kind of turned this team around were made by Leon Rose and company. Like
Yeah,
the turnaround when Leon was not there to when Leon got there is like almost like it was almost immediate just in terms of the quality of decisions. Like I forget exactly when he started. I can look it up. I think it was like 2018, 2019. It was a little bit after Phil. I don't think it was right after Phil. I think there was like a year or two kind of like interim, everything kind of shaken out. But once we decided with Leon, he brought his people in. We instantly started making better decisions. Like right away, we started doing better. Like that was right around the time where it's like we brought Randall in, we drafted RJ, we went all out for Katie and Kyrie, which ultimately didn't work out. But in the moment, we at least we were the favorites to land those two guys, and like
yeah,
obviously in hindsight, it didn't go great as we all know, but in the moment, Leon instantly positioned the Knicks to be a contender. The plan for us fans was to draft Zion because we tanked the whole year prior to get that pick. Draft Zion, sign Kevin Durant, sign Kyrie Irving, and that would have been a championship team, 100%.
hmm
So lottery balls didn't work out, and Durant decided to snake us and go to New York and go to Brooklyn. But the roster decisions were still solid. Use that money to sign Julius Randle, who's still on the team on the deal, to sign Marcus Morris, who would eventually, through a maze of NBA like random picks and trades and stuff like that, he would eventually become Emmanuel Quickly. It's weird to think about, but we signed Marcus Morris. Eventually, we get Emmanuel Quickly as a result of that. The development of Mitchell Robinson has to be said. You know, that this front office has really let Mitchell grow. He's become one of my favorite Knicks. Maybe he is my favorite Knick on the team right now. I love Mitch.
Yeah, I love Mitch.
And even after that, you know, I think after 2020, a lot of people clown the decisions to sign Fournier and Kemba. But Knicks fans know that the one thing that we needed was offense. And that we were all begging the front office to sign offense after the 2020 playoffs. And we could not score a damn point against Atlanta. Because we were starting like Alec Burks and Taj Gibson in the playoffs. And I love those two guys.
Yeah, I love those two guys too.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely think I think we had a team to be able to put around Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and that begs the question. I think we actually would have been a championship team, even if we didn't get Zion.
Yeah, I think it would. Yeah. If you have Durant, you're always going to be a contender. I think so. That's it's just.
I don't know.
Though.
I don't know about that one. Kevin Durant's track record is really iffy to me. He's a real snake in the grass. But you know what? I can't blame him for not going to New York because of what James Dolan did to him, and it's like pretty annoying personally, because it's like he's the best player in the world at that point, and you're not going to give him a max contract because he's going to be injured the first year.
Whoa.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. I read an article. I read the articles. That's what we're. At that time, yes, he was. At that time, yes, he was.
That's.
Who was the best player in the world at that time?
Who we talking about? Kevin Durant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Versus, wait, what year?
2 years ago, when we were going to sign him.
Well,
or 2 or 3 years ago.
19 off season. So it was right after the Raptors won the championship. Because remember, he went down in that finals, and then he signed to Brooklyn, but he played that whole first year because I think he tore his Achilles.
You said Brooklyn, he was the best player in the world.
I'm saying at the beginning of the 2019 season, or before he got injured, like in that little time span, he was putting up the numbers to be the best player in the world. And he was at that time. I'm not like we're acting like Kevin Durant is like some nonchalant like freaking top 10 player. No, he's a top 3 player, guys. He's a top 3 player.
Right.
No, not right now. Back then. I'm sorry. I'm being a little confusing, but it was back then. He was a top 3 player. You have to understand that. And there's no way you can't look up top 3 player in the eyes and say, "We're not giving you a max contract because you're not playing your first year." Like, we're just going over the Knicks' dumb decisions here, and honestly, I'm kind of sick about talking to the Knicks. Like, let's move on here.
That's something that I got something to add on to the next conversation for y'all.
Okay, let's do it. Let's hear it.
This is a topic that's been looming in the air for a while, and I figured I'll just introduce it since this is our first episode here. Trae Young versus Jalen Brunson. I feel like this topic, I think Omar has a strong opinion that Jalen Brunson is better than Trae Young.
Yes.
Which I arguably kind of disagree to a point. Yeah, I will say on paper, I kind of disagree. I think they're both great players, but I think Trae Young just has a better overall career track record and total. Like even last season, I think he had a better year last season as well. Maybe not playoff success, but just as stat wise, I think so. And I'll give my defense first.
I'm pulling up the graphic.
Yeah, you can pull up the graphic. I know what you're getting. I know
the graphic.
Okay.
But,
I gotta say that my thing. Listen, Omar, you can pull the graphic up. You can show it. Do whatever you want. But personally, this is a little bit off topic. But like, I think it applies because you're like, yeah, you're pulling up the graphic. I hate graphics like this.
Thank you.
I can't pull it up like that. It's not gonna show.
It's not just a Knicks thing. This is anything. You can cherry pick any stats in the world between two. You can compare any two players by cherry picking any stats out there that will make an argument for anything. If you wanted, you could just pick the few stats that make it look like Patrick McCaw is better than Magic Johnson. You could. Yep. There's some stat muse account out there that does. The Knicks stat muse account gives Knicks fans a bad reputation because of graphics like this. And like they'll post graphics where it's like, here's proof that here's RJ Barrett compared to like Michael Jordan at age 25. And it's like, stop it. Sure, we can talk about, RJ Barrett has more playoff wins than Jordan. I don't know if that's true, but like you can
obviously not. What?
but look, Omar, here's my point. Trae Young has been a minimum 20 point per game scorer since a rookie. Since a rookie, he's been the best player on his team. I can't say the same thing for Jalen Brunson.
Guess what? He digressed, guy. He digressed. It shows in his numbers that Trae Young has digressed. Yes. He puts up more... I'm sorry. Huh?
Put up
10. 26 and 10?
Yeah, did he not?
26? I mean, last year he averaged, 28? I'm looking at the stats right now. The year before he averaged 28 and 9.7. This year he averaged 26 and 10. So he went up in a little bit in assists and down.
I have the wrong graphic. This says he went 26 and freaking 3.
What, 3 assists?
It says 3 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 0.1 blocks. It has. I looked.
No. See, Trae Young led the league. I'm pretty sure, or he was.
Yeah, he led the league in like assists, right?
This is what I mean with the stat muse account. Yeah. They're not even getting the stats right.
They're stat muse is lying to my boy Trae Young. We can't sit here and say Trae Young is not better than Jalen Brunson. I'm sorry. Jalen Brunson is a great player, but he does not have the track record yet. He had a great breakout season on the Knicks this year. He went from 16 points a game to 24 points a game. That's great. But my point is Trae Young has been a top assist leader, and he's scored 20-plus points every season he's been in the NBA since a rookie. He's led his team. He's been the main guy on his team since he's been a rookie. I think his rookie year was him and John Collins. I think John Collins I'll take away rookie year because him and John Collins, I'm sure, put up like similar numbers. Somebody can fact check me. I think they both averaged around 19 points the rookie year, something like that. But I think his second year, he averaged 29 points a game, like as a sophomore in the NBA. Like Trae Young, I feel like for what he's been given on that Atlanta team, as far as roster construction, he's done what he can. I'm not going to sit here and act like he's had his best moments in the playoffs because he hasn't. I mean, the year before last, he got completely taken out by the Miami Heat. They took him out the game, and they forced everybody else to play, and Trae Young did not show up. I admit that. But I will say, overall, as far as like player comparison right now, I'm not saying Brunson can't be in the future, but Trae Young, statistically, you can look up all the stats you want. If you look at the real stats, Trae Young is winning in the stats, not the stat mules. Just look at regular stats: points, rebounds, assists, whatever, steals, straight up without all the extra seasoning and stuff. Trae Young is that guy. So I had to come over here to defend my boy Daniel and his Hawks and defend the hometown Trae Young. But Trae Young right now is a better player than Jalen Brunson, in my opinion. And that's just my 2 cents on the whole situation right now.
I'll agree with your logic. And I definitely pulled up the wrong graphic. I'm going to be honest with that. I pulled up the wrong graphic. But I did... What's up?
And troll moment.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. I'm ending the stream right now. No, I'm playing. No, I definitely agree with your logic, most of what you said there. And you know what? You make a valid argument. I did look at a lot of these stats. I did look up like true ESPN stats. And what I wanted to really point out was the difference between the percentages. He was shooting at a higher rate. He was shooting at a better percentage. Those facts were true. I looked that up. Also, I gotta say, his breakout was as soon as he kind of like made a name for himself in Dallas. Because yeah, he was doing slightly worse in Dallas because he was sitting on the bench. But then when they brought him to a starting role, what happened? He turned into the player we actually now know. So I kind of see it as a slight step up in the right direction. I feel like Jalen Brunson is going to get better as time goes on. I feel like he's eventually going to be like a Julius Randle, like 25 and 10 assist type player. I think he can be that. He's not there yet. Trey Young is though. So I gotta say, like my stuff was wrong. Shout out to Daniel. I love you, brother. You were right. Trey Young is better. I'm sorry.
Like that's not me. Like I don't want to sit here and act like I'm bashing Jalen Brunson because I think he's a
No,
great.
you're not. You're not, bro. You're not.
I think his potential is literally like sky through the roof. I think he's gonna be a great player. I think just comparing the two, like I think they just had two different journeys so far in the NBA, and it's hard to compare them right now. I think maybe another year or two, maybe we can look at a better look at a track record. But looking at Trey Young, like since the rookie, he's been playing like 30 minutes a game. He's been called to be the franchise player, win, lose, or draw. He's been their main guy since he's been drafted. And I think Jalen Brunson hasn't had the opportunity, which is why I want to see him play a full season with the Knicks and get that opportunity, or a second season with the Knicks, and get the opportunity to kind of showcase his consistency of being that leader, being that great player, and like being efficient in those stat ranges as well. So I do agree, Jalen Brunson definitely has a lot more that he's going to grow, and he's a great player. He will be for a long time.
Yeah. Let me make it clear. I do think he's gonna end up better than Trey Young. I feel like Trey Young is kind of like on a downward spiral, if that makes sense. I mean, I feel like he can be like a secondary star on another team, but right now with the way he's performing and it's kind of like his attitude in Atlanta, I don't know if I want that on my squad because it's like you could say it's the owner's fault, you could say it's a bunch of other people's fault, but at the end of the day, am I wrong to say that he's pointing fingers at everybody else but himself?
I mean,
I think it's tough to say. We're not inside the locker room.
Yeah,
You know,
I do. Yeah,
we're just casual fans here. We don't.
yeah.
yeah,
We don't know. We don't know at all. But
I
all
think it's
right.
just hard to off of social media, honestly, because I see so many different reports. Like, I guess we can judge on like the coaching thing, but like, I feel like people say Trey Young has got all his coaches fired, but like, I personally don't know what's happening in the locker room. Like, is it Trey Young? Maybe they're pointing the blame because he's the point guard. Obviously, point guard is supposed to be the
Yeah.
leader of the team. I get that, but I don't know. Overall fit, I don't know if every case was Trey Young's fault. So we'll
No,
have to wait
I
and see.
can't say that either. I can't say
I
that
just
either.
I just think he's too young for us to all just be like, oh, he's done. Like his career is just going down. Like I think he has time to turn things around. He just has to start focusing on winning games, honestly, and having better playoff success, in my opinion.
Yeah, listen, I've been listening to you guys here, and I think Omar, you brought up a good point about who his value to a team,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna sit here and deny that right now Trey Young is he's the more talented basketball player. I think you can't work around that. Like Earl said, Earl brought up a bunch of good stats. Trey Young, even though he is quote regressed, still put up 26 and 10. In terms of counting stats, the guy's incredible. His shooting ability, phenomenal. He can move the ball, run an offense. He's proven, again, something Earl brought up, he's the more proven player. He's been doing this since his rookie year. His rookie year, he put up 19 points a game. There's no Joe Schmoes are putting up 20 points a game in their rookie year in the NBA. And since that rookie year, he's been above 25 a game every night. That's talent. Really special. He is one heck of a player. And I'm not going to sit here and say that Brunson has a track record of that, nor does Brunson, quite frankly, have the counting stats that Trey Young has. So in terms of pure talent on a basketball court, the nod is going to go to Trey Young every time. But when it comes to who you would rather have on your team, in my opinion, that's when you start looking at some of the other stats. You look at the efficiency. Trey Young shot 43% from the field, not great. 33 from three, which
It's really bad for a point guard, I gotta add.
Yes, he's taking 6 threes a game at 33%.
That's not good as a point guard.
That's not good at any. If you're shooting below 35%, you should not be taking more than 1 or 2 threes a game. The fact he's shooting 6 at that low percentage is terrible. His free throw shooting is phenomenal. Give him that. He's always a shooter. I'm sure he always will be. But the defensive stats, I don't have those pulled up in front of me right now, but every single defensive stat under the planet hates Trey Young because he is an awful defender. They say he's 6'1". He's not 6'1". He's as much 6'1" as Omar is 6'1". I'll put it that way. He's probably closer to Omar's height than he.
I did not deserve that. I did not deserve that violation.
I'm sorry, Omar, but
You comparing me to Trey Young, the lollipop hair dude?
listen. My point is that he's not tall. He's a terrible defender.
Yeah,
He's
no,
not
you're right.
tall. He gets taken advantage of. You brought up how the Heat basically took him out of the game because of his poor defense. That is, you can't discount that. And his lack of, he has had some very high playoff highs, undoubtedly. You lead the Atlanta Hawks to the conference finals. Very impressive. Trust me. I watched him towards the kid can play. But he's also had some low lows. Like I said, that series against the Heat really shined the spotlight on how teams can game plan around him. Yeah. So if you're going to ask him versus Jalen Brunson, who do I want on my franchise? Who do I want putting on that Knicks jersey every night? I'm going to pick Brunson because Brunson is incredibly efficient, turns the ball over at a very low rate, which is something that Trae Young has always struggled with. His rookie year, he averaged 3.8 turnovers a game, and that was the lowest number in his career. He's coming off a 4.1 turnover season last year. He's peaked at 4.8. Again, for a point guard, that's terrible, quite frankly. And Brunson, he was setting records even in his first few Knicks games for fewest turnovers, best assist to turnover ratio, most, highest scoring games without a turnover. You name it. Brunson does not turn the ball over. So and Brunson is also, again, I'm not going to knock Trae Young in this because we don't know what is being said behind the closed doors. But Brunson is a phenomenal leader. He stepped into that Knicks locker room and became the leader of the team, I think, from day one. Julius Randle completely lost his control on this team as soon as Jalen Brunson entered the fray. And you look back to Dallas when Luka Doncic went down with an injury. Who stepped up and brought that terrible Dallas team to the conference finals?
Jalen Big Body Brunson. That's who.
Yeah, he was driving the bus, as Charles Barkley likes to say. This kid's a leader, unflappable. He's composed. He's extremely efficient. So when it comes, and those things all matter. He can't do with a basketball what Trae Young can do, and I'm not going to argue that. And if you do want to argue that, then you're probably a biased Brunson fan. But I think there's a very legitimate argument that when it comes down to who is the better basketball player, when you take into account everything, because basketball is a game of small details. And when I think of small details, mastery of the small details, Jalen Brunson is the definition of someone who has mastered the nuance of basketball. And for that reason, I would rather have him on my team versus a more naturally gifted and talented Trae Young. That's my take on it, at least.
Yeah, and not to say that Trae Young is not a good player. He's an all-star caliber player.
Of course.
I think Jalen Brunson has a higher ceiling. I'm just gonna say it. I think Jalen Brunson has a higher ceiling. If Trae Young continues to do what he's doing, if his lows are 26 points per game, don't get me wrong, he's gonna be fine. But if he regresses anymore, if he starts, what do you mean? I'm sorry.
My fault.
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
I said if he goes from 26 to 24 and 10, then it's way worse.
No, I'm saying if it goes from 26 to 20 and 6.
I don't think he's. I don't know, bro. I think you're.
Unless he gets hurt, he hasn't.
Unless he has a season career-ending injury, Omar, I don't think he's just gonna drastically drop off the game unless he gets
Wait. I said if he drops like that, I think Jalen Brunson's gonna have a higher ceiling. That's all I said.
Oh no.
That's all I said. Yeah. Also, it's good to mention Jalen Brunson had 5 40-plus games this season. How is this man not an all-star? How? 5 40-point games? Are you kidding me? And one of those games was 50. I'm sorry, not including one of those games was 50.
I think this season there was just so many great guards this season as far as all-star. But there was a lot of people to the point where this year was the most we've ever heard the word snub because there was so many great performances. And I think that's just showing the talent of the NBA right now. But I do admit, I was surprised about that. And just a small plug-in, I was absolutely shocked Anthony Davis didn't make the All-Star game. People wanted to use the excuse of injuries, but at that point he only had missed 4. He played 4 less games than Jared Jackson Jr. At that point in the season, and he beat him in every stat except for blocks by 1 block a game. So that was honestly ridiculous to me as well. But Yeah, All-Star voting was a little bit wild. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I
Randall
do.
definitely very hard by the positional voting. He always does. The NBA is very weak in power forward / big man right now. So Randall really got carried. That's why he made the All-Star team. That's why he got on. Julius Randle's not an All-NBA caliber player in any year, but I know they're doing away with positions this upcoming season for I know they're doing away with it for all pro teams. I don't know about All-Star game. I hope they do away with it for the All-Star game because
I am
any
tired of the
or
Julius
Julius
Randle slander. Let me just say
is
that. I'm
The who?
sorry. I am so sorry to cut you off. I am just so fed up with the Julius Randle standard. Like, this man just didn't put up 25 and 10?
I mean,
and he also put up 25 technicals a game.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Stop it.
Player, you want to talk about a win? And no team with Julius Randle will ever win or come close to it unless he changes. Maybe, but I don't think he will.
He needs to create more peace in his mind for him to be able to win. Yeah, I agree with you there.
Derrick Rose. Remember, I don't know if y'all remember the playoffs. They interviewed Derrick Rose and said, "You know what happened to Julius Randle?" And he said, "I've never seen anything like this before." I don't know if you guys ever seen that, but in the world of Derrick Rose, we don't know what happens to Julius in the playoffs, respectfully. Like, and that's not even you saying he's a bad player. Like you said, 25 points a game. How can you argue that he's not a good player? Like, I get what you mean.
No.
I mean, I feel like the same thing about Bron. People on Twitter, they say Bron's washed, yet he averaged 28 and 9 last year. But that's being a washed player. So I think he just depends.
He's not washed. He's definitely not. I don't know why people are even thinking about saying that about the King, bro. Bro's freaking 39 and putting up 28 points a game.
Yeah.
Somebody tell Jordan. There's competition.
Yeah. In terms of Julius Randle, I think from the neck down, Julius Randle is an awesome player. But his problem has always been up here. It's been the decision making. It's been the way he carries himself. It's been his selfishness because he is one of the most selfish players that I've ever watched. And I've watched a lot before. He tops that list. So I will. We can sit here and have a whole episode talking about Julius Randle if you want to. But I will say that no team will ever win with him because you can't win with a guy like him who puts himself before the team. I firmly believe that Julius Randle would rather put up 35 points and have the Knicks lose than put up 20 and the Knicks win.
You know what? You make a valid point. Yeah, you make a valid point. I can't argue with that.
I don't care how many points you're scoring. You can get off my team. I'm here to win. And and I want my players to do whatever it takes to win, whether that is putting up 35 or whether that's putting up 2 points a game. Randle would absolutely rather see himself succeed than the team. He cares more about the name on the back of his jersey than the name on the front of his jersey.
Yeah.
I have to agree to a degree. I mean, look, I feel like you gotta love your teammates in every single aspect of the game. And I'm not Max, I feel like you're going a little too deep into it because although I see your point and I understand it as a Knicks fan, there's only been like 2 games this season where he really lost his cool. Like to the point where he actually had to get thrown out of the game.
It's not even the temper as much as it is just kind of his demeanor. Like he plays the game in such a way that does not benefit his teammates. He plays for himself. He doesn't try on defense so that he can maximize his offensive performance. He doesn't make the extra pass because he wants to take the shot himself. He doesn't create space for his teammates because he wants the space for himself. Guys like Quickly, guys like Grimes have sacrificed so much of their development, especially offensively, because they spend all their time running sets to pass Randle the ball in the post. And it's as much Thibodeau's fault as it is anyone because he encourages this behavior from Randle. Probably because he's scared of Randle. Let's be real. Julius Randle's a scary dude. I would not, he could absolutely, he's not the kind of guy you stand up to. Randle has his way with this team. And I think when you saw Brunson come in, Brunson changed things because all of a sudden people realized that you can actually, pass the basketball and play the game unselfishly, and that the whole team doesn't have to exist for the greater good of Julius Randle. And as soon as that happened, I think that's why Brunson became the leader of this team because everyone was sick of referring to Randle because Randle's all me, not team. Jalen Brunson is a team player. And then that's why have the keys to the offense from now on, and stop just letting Randall run rampant and do whatever and just do his Beyblade spin in the post and be like, oh, who cares? I know I'm not but like, it's me. I should take the shot. I'm better than Grimes. A contested knee jumper is better than a Grimes open three.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, look, Julius Randle is an enigma. We don't know why he does these things, but he does these things.
And listen, he's a phenomenal, like, it's a similar argument to Trae Young, but on steroids with Randle. Like, phenomenal, pure, talented player. Can score the ball, can rebound the ball, can play defense when he tries, and in the rare moments he actually cares about passing, he is a good passer. But those moments are few and far between. So again, counting stats wise, Randle's one of the most talented players in the NBA. But quite frankly, there's bench warmers that I would rather have on my team than Julius Randle. Because
I mean, look, I mean, that's wild.
Burn of the century. Hey, I will say,
I think
seeing two different Knicks perspectives, this is beauty, man. Just seeing both of you guys, Knicks fans, this different perspectives, I don't know, it just brings joy.
Because it's like, bro, like, okay, who is a bench player you would rather have right now than Julius?
Theo Pinson. Theo Pinson won't tank the team. Theo Pinson's not.
Theo Pinson's not freaking playing!
He doesn't. But he's great for the
Bro.
Negative. Of course, I'm not saying Theo Pinson is a better player. If they were to play one-on-one, Randall would win 105-1. Of course, I'm not saying that.
I'm not, like, bro, that is crazy.
I'm serious. Randall takes away from the ceiling of this team. If you Theo Pinson ain't taking Jalen shots. He ain't taking Grimes' shots. He's not taking Barrett shots. He's not taking Quickly shots. He's not taking Robinson shots.
Bro, I'd rather have Julius Randle. I'm sorry, because if Julius Randle's low, he's putting up 19 points per game. Like, you act like he had such a bad drop off. He didn't. He just.
I'm not gonna lie, you lost me a little bit there, Max. Like,
how does that translate, bro?
I was on the train. I was riding in the back seat. You said something crazy, had to jump off. I'm not gonna lie to you for my own safety. I wouldn't give him up for a bench player like that, man. Respect.
Bro, Theo Pinson not even in the league, bro.
I never said that's. I should rephrase that. That's valid.
Give me another player.
I'm not trading him for Theo Pinson, but I really do think that Theo Pinson contributes to winning basketball more than Julius Randle does.
How if he doesn't play?
I know.
Basketball,
Randle's a negative.
To contribute basketball, some type of threat on the court, and I don't think he is a threat on the court currently compared to you. No. Even the threat of Julius Randle being a scorer is better than any bench player I think he can name of, honestly. Like, even if you take him, let's just say, even if Julius Randle's like, let me defer, that's better than any other bench player you replace him with currently. Even if he's going out there doing all hawk thing.
He never defers. It's him.
No, but what, at the worst, even with him going out there, like Omar said, putting out the worst, 19?
Yeah,
that's still better production than any player I'm pretty sure you'll name out of disrespect to Julius Randle. I don't even really like Julius Randle, but I think that was just a little tiny bit too far, respectfully. Yeah. I don't know. He was a Laker, so I have to show respect there too, but I don't know about that take, Max. I was on, but
like if you throw Julius Randle on the Lakers right now, he's still putting up the same numbers. They're still gonna start Julius Randle, and there's like honestly, that would give AD room to move to the center position. Personally,
would I want him on our team? No, and that's respectfully, but that doesn't make it the fact that he's not a good player.
Yeah, I think
he just fit in our system.
But he will not contribute. No team will win with him. The Lakers Knicks won't win
with Julius Randle. If we just right now with that, we win the championship easily. Even without Julius, we're winning 100%. 100%.
Adding Julius Randle to the Lakers would make them
right now
better offensive team, 100%. But it would lower their odds of winning a championship because a player like that, in order to win a championship, the Nuggets just proved this. You have to play team basketball. You have to be willing to pass.
Let me put this, Max. You said the reason why Jalen Brunson got control of that team is because he was a leader. How can Julius Randle go against one of the best leaders in basketball, LeBron James? Alpha mentality.
And to add to that, wait 1 second, just to add to what Earl said, you have to realize where Julius Randle was coming from, because before Jalen Brunson got to the team and started playing on a regular basis, Julius Randle was the best player. I'm sorry to say, but he was the best player. And he looked around the locker room and he was like, okay, I have to be the guy. It's not a matter if I can be the guy, I have to be. So he developed that mentality. He developed that selfish attitude. Yes, it is selfish. It's a selfish basketball move. I agree with you. But he is still able to share the ball. Like we talk about how Julius Randle is such a selfish player, but he averages around 6 assists a game. I just looked it up.
Every possession.
Yeah, but when you have Jalen Brunson, who is clearly now the leader, Julius Randle is looking up and he's saying, I need this point guard to lead me.
Listen, I will say that to Brunson's credit, he managed to, Randle defers to him.
He tamed the beast.
That Julius Randle all up at the end of games. But the point you make about the passing thing, that's one thing where the stats, I think, do lie. Because yes, does he average 6 assists? He does. I can't argue that. But if you watch Knicks games like I do, you see the way that Randle catches the ball on the wing with about 15 seconds on the clock. It's back down. The double team comes. Typically, when a double team comes, if you get a talented, good passer like Jokic,
I lied. It's 4 assists. So I'm sorry. I lied. Yeah.
When Jokic will pass the ball as soon as the double team even begins to happen, like before there's actually the 2 guys on him. As soon as someone starts to rotate, Jokic gets the ball out. That's what makes a good passer. They give it up quickly and efficiently. Randle lets the guy double to him. He gets doubled. He gets trapped in the corner. He pump fakes, looks around, is falling out of bounds. And when he has no other option, when he has a 0% chance of shooting, he'll pass. And he gets an assist off it because he assisted the shot, yes. But he just holds on to the ball for so long, and it's so clear that he does not want to pass, that he will do anything in his power to not lose possession of the basketball. He would rather take a fall-away, fade-away baseline shot over 2 defenders than hit a wide-open shooter.
But to your point,
and he does hit the wide-open shooter.
I gotta say, though, he's doing a lot better than he was during his breakout season where he won MIP.
I mean, congratulations. You're passing out of 2 out of 10 doubles instead of
No,
1.
I mean, it looks like it all around. So I'm looking back at the MIP year, which was 2021. He played 71 games, averaged about 32 minutes, 37, I apologize. 37 minutes, he got 24.1, field goal percentage at 46.0, 3-point 27.7, 9.5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 0.8 steals. I'll round that up to 1 steal a game. This year, what he's doing is 25 on 35 points a game, only 3 more minutes higher. He played 77 games this year. He shot 45.9, so that's literally right next to each other. It's 45.9 and then 46 and 46. But his 3-point percentage increased by about 6 percentages, and it went up to 34.3 points a game, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, and even less steals somehow.
Again, Omar, I'm not arguing that Randle's not a fantastically talented player. Again, no Joe Schmo off the street is walking in and putting up 25 and 10 in the NBA. He makes some incredible shots, and he is when he wants to be, an incredibly tough guy to beat out on the boards.
When he shot it over Jimmy Butler, sorry.
No, you're good. But in terms of talent, he's up there at the sharp end of the league, without a doubt. It's just a shame that he uses his powers for evil and not good. A player be using his immense talent like a Jokic or
that's crazy.
I'll be back in 2 minutes, boys. Continue.
But Randle just uses his powers for himself, because he goes out and just takes all the shots and he stagnates the offense and he doesn't try on defense. These are things that will inflate his personal stats but lower the ceiling of the New York Knicks. So, and that's what I'm saying here. It's not that Randall is a bum. It's not that he's an awful player. He's not. But the great players make their teams better. Julius Randle does not make the Knicks better. And unless he changes up here, that the Knicks will never win with him. They win in spite of Randle and his attitude.
I kind of agree with the point Omar made, where it's like Julius Randle turned himself into that player where he's like, okay, I'm the guy on this roster because we don't have a 1B star next to a 1A Julius Randle before Jalen Brunson. They didn't really have that. You can argue maybe RJ Barrett, he hasn't been the most consistent guy. I feel like yet in his career. He's still young though, so I don't blame him. But as far as his age and his impact on that team, I think Julius Randle, to the best of his abilities, yeah, at times he was ball hogging, he was holding the ball in his hand, but he was just playing as like a ball dominant scoring superstar. That's the build and model he formed his game after when he joined the Knicks to be essentially like the leader of that team. So like to add your point to like if he joined the Lakers, I think his role would naturally change. Like when you have a guy like LeBron James, Anthony Davis on that roster, two great top 10 NBA players, you automatically yield your game to those guys. Like you won't see Julius Randle holding the ball. No, Max. It's not a.
Maybe I'm just a hater. I think he would take as many shots as LeBron and AD.
He wouldn't. I promise you, he wouldn't, bro. Because when you have guys like LeBron James and AD, guys who if they have the ball in your hand, like Julius Randle knows, if LeBron James or AD has the ball in their hand, they have the ability to get the best shot and set up the best shots on that team. And if Julius Randle wanted to buy into winning championship on a championship ready and built team, dominant players like that will yield their power as a basketball player to those top guys. I think it's just hard to see because of the way he's playing, but I guarantee you this year, Julius Randle has a better year as far as being a better teammate. Like, think about last year. His first year, like you said, both of you guys agreed to this. He has been on that team as the main star, main leader. You add in Brunson. There's a new guy in town, new star. You have to kind of manage that. You're not used to playing with that type of person who can create offense for themselves, who can kind of lead the team maybe in a better direction than you can. So I think last year maybe was an adjustment year, and who knows what can happen this year. I think he can possibly play better in the system, in my opinion. I think it's just been a little bit harder on the guy who has been the main guy for the Knicks for the past couple of years, in my opinion.
I mean, listen, of course that he was, the most talented offensive player in his first 3 years here, the 3 prior to Brunson years. I'm not doubting that. And I understand that, but you see so many guys out there that, even though it shouldn't matter, we still had. You shouldn't. How do I phrase this the best way? I know you're the most talented guy, but basketball at its purest form is a team game.
True.
Randall never turned it into a team game. And I think the Knicks' development would have been better long term if Randall was given Obi Toppin some more reps, giving Quickly some more reps, giving Quentin Grimes and RJ more reps, creating an environment of I get the ball, I look, and if I'm not open, I pass, and then I cut,
True.
and then I away, and you do the little things. Look at how good the Nuggets were this year because of how unselfish they were. No one on that team has an ego. Sure, Jamal Murray takes more shots than the average. Jokic takes more shots than the others. But the ball moves freely. It's bouncing around. People are helping each other out, setting picks for Aaron Gordon or, back cutting and deep cutting. Like, they're doing the little things. The Knicks offense, ever since Randall came to town, has been 4 guys stand on the perimeter and watch Julius Randle go in the post. And maybe if you're lucky, you'll get the ball like once or twice a quarter.
Well, let me add this too.
That's not healthy.
In no way, before I say this, anybody's watching, in no way am I comparing these players. I'm just comparing the situation. Okay, let's talk about Michael Jordan. Before they could win anything, Michael Jordan was always getting scoring records. He was leading the team in points. He had the ball in his hand. He was scoring as much points as possible, contributing to his team to win games. But it took a while for him to realize that in order for him to win, he had to yield his scoring ability and turn into a playmaker as well. He had to turn into somebody other than just scoring and defense. He had to contribute to his team and help other people get in scoring positions. I think Randall just hasn't got to that type of awareness yet in his career. But if he does do that, that's why I said next year, I think could be an opening year for him. If he realizes, okay, Jalen Brunson is a guy we're bringing in who can help us win, help contribute. If we can all work together, you guys got young guys like Quickly, you got guys like Grimes now they're playing good. You got guys like RJ Barrett potentially trading for new talent, and stuff like that. If he can buy into that role, saying, okay, maybe me scoring 27 points per game, 28 points per game isn't going to help us win, but if I change that to 24, 23 and bump up my assist to like 6 instead of 4 and pass out of double teams instead of taking dumb shots, maybe that can help contribute to winning instead of me getting individual stats and putting up all-star type numbers. I think it's like a maturity level he has to reach to. Like, yeah, I can totally go out here, hold the ball, go put up close to 30 points a game and maybe be an all-star and all these different things. Or I can be a star role player on my team and put up 24, like Jalen Brunson put up 24, 25-ish, and we contribute together as a team, getting people to the right spots, getting to the right shots, using my offensive ability as a threat to get other people open. I think once he realizes that, I think that's when the next level of Julius Randle can unlock. So I do agree with both of you guys. I agree with you, Max, that Julius has been a selfish player. And I agree with Omar that he kind of formed his game around that because he was the best player on that team for such a long time, in my opinion. He just forgot how to yield. So if you guys remember, because when he played on those Lakers team with that young Lakers squad with like just guys like D'Lo and stuff like that, like he was actually a decent, like they played as a team. I don't think he really played a lot of team ball in a great system with the Knicks so far, because he just took on that role of just being that star player. So if he combines that mentality, change his mindset, I think y'all can have a great chance of actually competing and winning in the playoffs. He has to understand it's just not him. It's a team game. I agree with that.
Earl, thank you for saying that. I think you just put
You put the cherry on top of everything
beautifully into words, and that I completely agree with what you said. And that if it's a maturity thing, and if Randall is able to internalize that, then I will gladly eat all the words I just said. Like I said, he's got the talent, but personally, I don't have hope for him. I think if he was ever going to finally get it into his mind how to be a team player, it would have been this past year with Brunson. I'm not holding out hope. Listen, if he turns out to be the player that you said he could be, Earl, that kind of guy that puts up slightly fewer points per game, slightly fewer shots, but learns how to be a good team basketball player, a good 5-on-5 basketball player, then I will gladly eat all these words, and I think the Knicks can win a championship if that's the kind of Randall we're getting next year. Maybe not a championship. Maybe I'm pushing that, but I would love for nothing more than to be wrong about this. Like, Julius Randle, prove me wrong. Learn to play 5-on-5 basketball and prove me the heck wrong. But until he does that, I'm not holding out much hope. And I really don't think that if he went to the Lakers, he has the self-awareness to understand that he should be deferring to LeBron and AD. And that's why I don't think LeBron would ever want him on the Lakers. I think LeBron knows that and LeBron wants guys who actually know, who have good basketball, not good basketball QI, but like are unselfish guys. That's been the kind of guys LeBron's always surrounded himself with, which is why part of the reason why he succeeds. LeBron's been he's like the definition of a team player and an unselfish guy. LeBron could put up 50 a night if he wanted to, but he doesn't. Because of that, he has 4 championships. So if Randall could ever become that kind of guy, like have that Michael Jordan arc of maybe if I put up slightly fewer shot attempts, we'll win exponentially more playoff games. If he can understand that, I would love nothing more as a Knicks fan. I would love nothing more. And if that happens, I'll be the happiest man alive. I'm not hopeful.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said with Randall, I think Randall's gonna be really good eventually. He needs to fix his mental the best way he can because it's not gonna work if he doesn't. It's simply not. I just want to touch on something really quickly, not about the Knicks, not about Julius Randle, but about James Harden because I think this isn't. I think this isn't saying enough, and I want to wrap this up a little bit in a little bit, but I just want to say this because I think it is very important, and people don't understand this. Is like when you're getting Julius Randle, you're getting somebody who loves the game of basketball, and you're getting somebody who feels for the game of basketball. At least he's able to feel that emotion that he gets angry whenever he gets injured, that he gets frustrated whenever he's not doing well. It can't show on his face, don't get me wrong, but at least you're getting somebody who cares about that. And that segues into the James Harden thing because I've said this before on another platform on PSF. I don't think we brought that up, Pro Sports Fans. Shout out, shout out Mitch and Justin.
Yes,
But
sir.
shout out Mitch and Justin. But yeah, no, James Harden does not love the game of basketball. James Harden has effectively fell out of the love of game of basketball. And unfortunately, I'm sorry guys, like he had all the time in the world to go sign with a new team this year when he opted out. He had the whole opportunity to go discuss with teams, see what kind of numbers that he can get. He did that. He realized that his best numbers were in Philadelphia that were giving him around what, 32 million a year or for that 1 year. He wasn't getting that money anywhere else, and honestly, he's not worth that type of money. The way that he's been playing, the way that he's like carried himself on the court and off court, it's really, really debatable. And I know Max probably has something to say about this. I know he's probably itching to say something. But my thing is, if you're only looking at the money and you're only thinking, "Hey, this is the only reason why I play," like there's something wrong with you. Respectfully, there's something wrong with you. And I feel like
Yeah.
James Harden is doing that.
Yeah. This will be the last thing I think I'll say for the night. 'Cause I feel this is probably a good place to stop. We can
Yeah.
probably wrap it up. Harden
Yeah.
deserves his own spiel, his own full episode talk. But I think we can kind of relate Harden a little bit to Randall. And I'll kind of double down on what I'm saying that Harden is another guy that I would not want on my team for exactly the reason you said. Again, phenomenal basketball player. And honestly, I would probably argue that Harden is still, in terms of talent, one of the most talented guys in the NBA. I know people say he's washed and whatnot. I don't know. You don't put up 40 in the playoffs if you're washed. But that's a different argument. Again, him and Randall are kind of similar in that sense, where I rate them both very highly as in terms of pure talent, scoring ability, offensive ability, incredibly high. I don't want to say generational talents, but definitely some of the top guys we've seen in the league over the last few years. But this whole Harden thing, Harden doesn't have the patience to win a championship. We've seen that he demonstrated. It's like he lost all his patience in Houston, and since then it's just been, if I'm not winning this year, I'm out. I want to go somewhere where I think I can win, and then I don't win and I want out again. The whole Harden, I want to win, but dipping on teams and blowing things up saga has been well documented, so I'm not going to dwell on it. But that's another guy where I'm like, I would not want him around because I feel like he's just going to leave, and I'd rather use that money and that roster space on someone who has a fraction of his talent, but is going to buy into his role, is going to carry himself like a professional, is going to help the team win basketball games. That, in my mind, that's who I want on my squad. So I'll kind of connect it back to Randall there with the Harden thing, but I think if Harden, again, could get it through his mind that championships aren't built in a day, and if he could really show some patience with the Sixers, or if even he had showed patience with the Nets, he would have been better off for it as a player, and just I think he could have a championship. But it's tough for me to see Harden winning a championship because whoever he goes, he has to win in the first year, or else he's always gonna. He's the definition of like the grass is greener on the other side, even when most of the time it isn't. So that's my take. Give me the role players who win championships over the counting stats guys like Randall or Harden who don't really know what winning basketball is.
Yeah, I guess I'll end my segment off too and just say, I'll just keep this short and sweet, man. I think James Harden, he's just a homie hopper, man. Like he goes from team to team. Honestly, I kind of compare James Harden to like, this is gonna sound kind of crazy, but walk with me with the story. He's like a adopted kid. Like, okay, hear me out.
Don't say that.
No. It's gonna make sense when I finish. He had a really great situation going with a family that he loved in OKC, and he accepted a role. I don't know if you guys remember this. He accepted a role to be the guy to come off the bench in OKC and be a six man. He never wanted to be a starter, anything like that. And then they kind of end up trading him away to the Rockets. Like, he gets a little bit upset. That starts the whole James Harden kind of thing where he goes off, he becomes a crazy scorer, whatever, and whatnot. But I feel like when he got traded away, I'm not gonna say his level of basketball stopped there, but I feel like a little bit of it chipped away because he gave everything to that organization. He had family, friends. He just had a good relationship with everybody there, and things just like people just turned on him, man. So I think his sense of I don't even know what to call it. Loyalty just hasn't been there. Like he's just willing to go and play basketball where he's gonna get a check, where he's gonna get paid. Don't get me wrong. Any team he's on, he's gonna put up stats. Like Max said, it's not like he's still not a top player. Personally, I probably wouldn't want him on my team. I wouldn't want him on the Lakers right now. Respectfully, he just doesn't fit our system. But it's just I don't know. I just feel like his connection with these organizations just isn't the same as it was in OKC. I think he's kind of holding that with him throughout his career, respectfully. I know a lot of the decisions he made after OKC were kind of his own after that, but at the same time, I don't know. I just think, like Max said, he doesn't love the game anymore, and it sucks though because he's a great player. I think he could contribute to a winning team if he changed his game of play. Same thing with James Harden. I say James Harden. Same thing with Julius Randle. I think it's almost the same similar situation. The only difference is he's a lot older, in my opinion. I think he's a lot older. Pretty sure, yeah, he's a lot older than Julius Randle.
Four or 5 years.
Yeah, so he should have already learned that lesson. He's been on countless teams. He's tried to make a lot of sacrifices. I won't discredit him for the Rocket situation because every time they got close, Mr. Chris Paul himself just decided that his legs just weren't going to work anymore in the playoffs when they were so close to beating that Warriors team. Insane. But yeah, I think he just knows he can play basketball and get a check. And that's just what he's reduced his game to nowadays. Like, it's not even about winning. It's about where can I go to have fun, party up off the floor, and just get paid for something I'm good at. And I think that's just what he's been reduced to now in his career. So that's all I got about James Harden. I don't know where he's going to sign. At this point, I don't even think it really matters. It'll be interesting to see what happens, but I'm assuming it's going to be a team that's legitimately stacked where he has to put up minimal effort to try to win a championship. So I'm guessing probably maybe the Clippers, something like that, in my opinion.
I feel like the Clippers. Go for it, Max. My bad.
I was gonna say next episode we can. I will fully say the Rockets. If Chris Paul doesn't get hurt in that series in 2019, the Rockets win that series. They probably win the championship. That's a discussion for that out.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, discussion.
Yeah, and that about wraps up the first podcast of Beyond the Backboard. Thank you guys. Thank you to my wonderful hosts Earl and Max. My name is Omar, guys. Appreciate everybody who tuned into the chat tonight. We'll be here. We'll try to be here every Tuesday at around 6 p.m. And then we're also gonna go ahead and throw this whole podcast on YouTube after everything. So if you guys want to go ahead and check out our YouTube, it's BTB Pod. Again, BTB Pod. And that's about it, guys. Signing off. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great rest of your night.
Y'all watch this far, comment Julius Randle down below. We'll pin the comment.
Yes,
no
we
good.
will.
But if comment
somebody,
Julius far on YouTube.
Somebody put ex-Lakers fan.